Well, of all the LFG live shows, this might be the most impactful one because sitting next to me is the legendary John Biffar, 9-time Emmy Award winner. Johnny B, what's up, baby?
Thrilled to be here with you, Peter.
Well, I tell you what, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the both of us. You and I go back friends over 20 years in Fort Myers. I posted on Facebook that I was going to launch a podcast that was really going to focus on recovery and addiction called the LFG Life. And then literally 5 minutes after I posted it, I was getting in the shower. I saw you had called. I hadn't seen you since the last time we played pickleball. I said, I'll call when I get out of the shower. I get out of the shower. In the shower, I'm thinking, God, he's got to be calling me about that post because we haven't talked about anything in a long time. Sure enough, I called you. You said, hey, I want to talk to you. Where are you? I said, I'm in Fort Myers actually today. And you said, well, meet me for Starbucks. I drove down to Starbucks. And then, wow, what has happened, transpired, evolved into our collaborating about the LFG life is just second to none. Now, folks, when you win an Emmy, that's great. When you win two, that's great. That's three. He's so humble. He hates this part of the show. But he has nine-time Emmy Award winner, John Biffar. That's like winning 9 Super Bowls. That's like winning 9 World Series. That's like whatever sports metaphor you want. So, John, so excited to be in business with you, doing the LFG Life, also with Peace Vision and kind of putting everything in one big happy family. So, what attracted you to what we're doing with the LFG Life?
Well, Peter, as you've mentioned, we've known each other for a long time. And the one thing I've always loved about Peter is he's somebody that attacks in a good way. And I think now in your best way ever. Because I think in the past, you were known for, hey, not many guys make it as a Super Bowl, Jets quarterback and all your great athletic achievements. But then you went into business and you became the number one marketing guy. Didn't you have like the world's largest wine?
One of the world's largest travel company. Then we had the third largest wine club in the world. Yeah.
So I always, from the sidelines, looked at that and said, wow, this guy really has something special. And I admired that in you. But now what I see is that you're not as focused on the business part of it, but the life part of it and helping other people. That's what really got me excited. When I read your post, you said, 7 years ago, my family sat me down and they had an interdiction on me. And if they didn't, I would have probably lost my life. And right now I happen to be working with Kimmy's Recovery Zone here in Fort Myers.
Al Kinkle.
Al Kinkle, who lost his daughter to a heroin overdose, and been working with them for quite a while. And we're doing a documentary about Al, his company, and what he's trying to do to help save people, and we're trying to look at what are people doing across the country that works, and how do we disseminate that information? So when I saw your post, it was like, hey, he's giving back. Maybe there's a story that we can incorporate into the documentary. So that's why I reached out to you. And as you mentioned, it led to here we are on the set doing this podcast. And whether you suffer from addiction or you know someone that is, it pretty much touches everybody. Because we all either are suffering from something or we know somebody that's suffering, right?
Or we're suffering because of the person who's suffering and making us suffer. So the addiction is not just on the person who's addicted. It affects the families. It affects the community. It has such a ripple effect.
Right.
But I love how we came together and we not only decided to move forward on helping people get into recovery, but then we also started talking about and collaborating on people that are successful, whether they come out of recovery and they're successful, people that are successful not in recovery. We've got major celebrities coming on. We've got rock and roll Hall of Famers coming on. We've got athletes coming on. But we're also talking about the common denominator about being successful. But at the end of the day, your journey in film and of all the awards that you've won and the Addies and all the accolades is about telling the truth. And that's what I love about all your docs. It's about the truth. And one of my favorites, obviously, is the fighting the 911 fires from the Hudson.
Fireboats in 9/11.
Yeah, fire 9/11. That was unbelievable. I remember watching. I was crying my eyes out. A story that a lot of people don't even know about because they were just focused on the towers. They went down. And no one knew whether they were shooting water in from the Hudson into the city. But it's about truth. And so is that your journey in life? And we're going to talk about truth and love.
Yeah, You say truth. I think the stories that I've been attracted to telling is people that are giving back in some way. The truth can be ugly and the truth can be something that you're not proud of, but I think most of the films have been about people that share love in some way and help make the world a better place. I'm looking at, a poster over your shoulder, Norma Miller, who was a woman that helped invent the Lindy Hop, and she helped take down racial barriers on the dance floor. Al Giddings is another guy that's on the wall over there. He was one of the world's foremost underwater cinematographers, but he developed in people a love for the ocean by bringing the beauty of underwater life and getting people to care about the environment. One of my favorite films is a woman who I call a modern day Mother Teresa, Kari Engel, who started a school for these kids that live in the Guatemala City dump and gave them meals every day. And, that school has since flourished. So, the truth, the truth's a big part of it, but really it's about giving back, giving back in some way.
So when you're behind the camera or you're behind this, you're writing the script and putting this all together, and you're onto something that's impactful. So as an athlete, you're in the moment, you're training. What are you looking for when that truth? Is there the baseline of a story that you look for? I mean, like you said, the truth can be good and bad, right? So, but what's the baseline when you see a script or you see a cause?
Well, it's interesting because with docs, the best docs to me have no script, right? Because a script, when you think about it, when somebody's writing a script, that's an editorial. Correct. As opposed to me interviewing you and getting an interview with you and going, he said this, this, and this. And then, well, let me talk to somebody else on the same topic and see what they say. Oh, and they said this, this, and this. The films I do now never have a script. They are straight from the mouth of somebody because the script, like I said, is to me editorial. It takes away from the power.
Fiction or nonfiction?
Takes away from the power. It's like I didn't have the material to get you from here to here, so I need to write a script that
bridges that
gap,
yeah.
Right? And to me, that's where it falls apart. So the films that I do now, how do I find films? They usually find me.
Right.
Somebody walked into my office one day, and he says, "How you doing? My name's David Van Sleet, and I have a amputee baseball team."
Curveballs. Yeah.
What? An amputee baseball team? Yeah, all my guys are missing a limb. I said, I'm in. I want to tell that story. You had no money. We still don't. We're still looking for money for it. But we've produced the film, and it's the joy, just like an athlete that you talk about being in the flow. I've heard different guests come on the show and talk about being in the zone. When you are sitting down and interviewing somebody and you're getting goosebumps just by listening to what these people say, that's the joy of filmmaking to me, because I know I'm going to take that and I'm going to edit it and I'm going to share it with the world, and somebody's going to come back and go, wow, that really impacted my life in a positive way.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, a lot of the things that you do are impactful. Again, you don't like to talk about it, but being at the top of your game, literally winning nine Emmys, it just goes to show that the talent that you have. But the storytelling about good and bad is one thing, but when you look at some of the things you've done, let's focus on Al and Kimmy's recovery. The doc that you're doing there, and I was there at Kimmy's recovery zone. We shot some stuff there, but to identify what he's doing, the impact that he has on Lee County, which is a county here in Fort Myers. 7,000 people walked into that facility over the course of this year. 7,000 people looking for food, looking for resources to get sober, to get off of drugs, to be fed. That's just mind blowing. 7,000 people just in our county, and you're talking about trying to help this and grow this nationally.
Yeah, well, we're trying to find out what works and see if we can replicate it and tell that story so that other communities can learn from those things. But back to Al for a minute. He's taken me, he'll call me up on a weekend and say, hey, what are you doing? I go, oh, nothing right now. Oh, let's go. Where are we going? Oh, there's a homeless camp. I want to go give him some, he'll show up with food and clothes. We'll go to these homeless camps, and everybody knows Al. And he's welcome like one of them. I don't know about you, but I'd never been to a homeless camp before. And I was looking at this crazy new world that I didn't even know existed, which is all over the place, right?
Yeah.
But the love that he has and the dignity that he gives these people, because he doesn't look at them as you're homeless, because there's the great line that I love in the Bible, which is, there for the grace of God go you or I. And I think that's so true. I mean, you could be at the top of your game, and the next day a few things happen and get out of whack, and you're out on the street, and then what?
Yeah.
And thank God there are people like Al Kinkle who have a heart to pick up the pieces. This guy lost his own daughter. Crazy. By the way, Kimmy, I never met her. She had died before I met Al. But when he explained the story to me, a lot of times you hear people talking about tough love. Well, when they get to a certain point, you got to have tough love, and you just tell them to go away. Figure it out, whatever that is. Al never did that. Al always kept a close relationship with his daughter. Always knew what was going on. She always knew that she could go to him no matter what she did. And he would say, be hard on the problem, not the person.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So, there's just so many things about that guy that I want to share with the world.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's so many things that I want to talk about right now when it comes to what you said about being hard on the problem, but that's in the addiction itself. It's funny because I haven't thought about this probably since I wrote it, but I wrote a paper in high school on Skid Row alcoholics, predominantly in New York City, and it was after the study when I did the research on it. There was some crazy statistic that 70% or maybe even higher were college educated people that were just living there, either some by choice, some by force of circumstances, but the dignity of which I view every homeless person is a direct result of the research I did on that project. Because just because someone's down on their luck doesn't mean that they're a bad person. Doesn't mean they should be treated poorly, right? I mean, so the homeless, and again, I went to prison. I'm a felon, and so I know what it's like to be ridiculed, looked down on, persecuted, literally, and put into a different category. So that's a tribute to Al. I mean, when you can walk into a homeless camp and they let you in and they accept you because they trust you, and that's only because of the way you treat people.
And he's always saying, "Come with me. Let me help you get out of this. Let me, So, anyway, I look forward to doing a ton more stories with you about people like Al that are changing the world and helping people that we all do. Hey, I like hanging around with you because you make me a better person.
Wow. I'll try.
And so it's a real rush for me to work with you because I love your energy and I love the things that we're about to do. And to me, this lifestyle that we're pushing is the coolest.
Well, I think it's really cool that we also, as soon as we decided to move forward on it, we got your son Scott involved with us, who's a producer on the show. But more importantly than that we got into the carnivore diet. I got you guys on the carnivore diet. Scott's walking now. You're walking. You're both losing weight. But let's talk about this carnivore diet right now, because I think I kind of blew you away because when you guys said we want to move forward with it, I went to Costco. I bought the air fryer. At Target, I went to Costco, bought the meat, ribeyes. I went to Publix, I bought the hard-boiled eggs and the bacon. I bought you some popcorn for a little snack. And I told you that you were going to love it. Then Scott was afraid about being on a diet. I said, no, this isn't a diet. This is a lifestyle. And so what is the carnivore diet done for you guys?
Well, the most obvious thing right off the bat was you dropped a lot of weight.
Yep.
I think the first week I dropped 10 pounds.
Yeah, like I can see right now your face is skinny, your lines in your face, you were bloated because the inflammation of the stuff that you're eating, and that's what the carnivore diet does. It'll take the inflammation away from you, which is it's going to make you look better, feel better, clothes are looser.
Right. And, just the energy, you have more energy. And it was interesting because I happened to have been sick that week, so I'm just back to feeling like I'm alive again. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited about how I'm going to feel
Right.
in another week.
Right. Well,
now
the
that I got rid of that crazy bug I had.
high fat, high protein. And we talked about like we love the carnivore diet because it's sustainable.
But I happen to like meat, so some people don't. So it's no like you said, it's no diet. You eat as much as you want.
Yeah.
But you just have to be cognizant of no pasta, no bread.
Yeah. No carbs.
No carbs that are not your friends. So
Teaspoons of butter in your coffee. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do
Right.
that
Cheat around it.
Yeah, I don't even understand how you lose weight on it, but I love it. It shreds you out.
Right.
So what's next for John Biffar? Not with the LFG Life, but I know we got curveballs on the table. What else is coming down?
Got a couple of feature films actually that we're working on. One is about a guy who at 11 years old was a heroin addict and went on to become two-time heavyweight champion of the world. True story. Pinklin Thomas, who you know.
Yes, I know Pinklin. I used to train with Pinklin in Orlando.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're working on his feature film. You should get him on the show.
Yeah, he'll be a
He has
guest
a
for
lot
sure.
of great info to share with people. And a few other projects, but nothing more exciting actually than working with you right now. So thank you.
Well, John, thanks, man. So to have our 9-time Super Bowl winner, Emmy Award winner John Biffar leading the charge here at the LFG Life, the sky is the limit. We're going to continue to bring you as much information we can on recovery, on living the LFG life, which is being 100. What do you think about 100? What do you? When I came to you with that
Well,
idea?
if I get like 99, I'm feeling good.
Right, but that's the difference. The difference between good and great is just that one little thing. So you want to be 100%, 100% of the time. That's right, buddy. The LFG life. Thanks, Johnny B.